Hi, you're listening to The Island of a Lost Pilot by Rajesh Bhatia, narrated by Deepak Agnihotri. Chapter 24, The Great Deceit. It was 8:30 a.m. They were at point E, and Ming was about to set the plane at a course 8 kilometers away from the outer edge of the fan. Ming had been paid $6,000 minus $2,250, that is $3,750, plus another $500 for the officer at the airport. The weather had improved miraculously, and the visibility was very good. They reached at the corner and took a left turn over the circular path FGH and reached at I. From I, they passed through point A and ultimately reached at the starting point E. A distance of 558 kilometers was covered with no result. This was the first outer track, or O1. From E, they moved to point J after covering 11 kilometers, so as to keep them about 8 kilometers away from the outer track recently covered. This distance, 11 kilometers, was approximately the diagonal of a right-angled triangle of sides 8 kilometers each. Such a diagonal was calculated by computing the square root of the sum of the squares of the equal sides, the length of each side being 8 kilometers in this case. This was the very basic mathematics told to a student of 7th grade. Where was Rohan? How far has he gone? Was there something wrong with the position at which the plane had crashed? Were the latitude and longitude positions not wrong? Had the plane moved ahead and then crashed? So many questions were haunting Shekhar, and he was losing hope. But he was a real man, and men never lose hope. The aircraft reached at a point K, and Ming set it on the circular path at arc KLM. As usual, Ming was busy with his beer can and was so relaxed, as if this has become his regular job and he will have to do it throughout his life, whether Rohan is found or not, thus milking a lot of money from Shekhar. He was pleased, and whistling the same old tune could be his favorite whenever he dreamed about the money. Shekhar was busy with his binoculars on his eyes. He had recently nursed his eyes with the eye drops, and in between touched the cold bottom of the Coke can to his eyes to soothe them. This cool touch provided relaxation to his extremely tired eyes. Mr. Shekhar, in this second outer circle, O2, we will be traveling a distance of 594 kilometers according to your calculations. After this circle, we would have crossed 500 plus 558 plus 594, that is 1,652 kilometers, and will not have sufficient fuel to take the next or third outer circle, O3. So, instead of coming from point N to point O for the circle O3, we should return to Sek Kong from point N. Shekhar, who was watching the far right horizon, removed the binoculars, looked at the diagram, did some mental calculations and nodded. Yes, that would be fine. We will do it like that. Shekhar closed his eyes for about half a minute and felt sleepy. Suddenly, he got up and again fixed the binoculars onto his eyes. He was not willing to budge to sleep or rest till Rohan was found. He was not in a position to take the risk of even a full minute lest he could miss him. In 1 minute, the plane moved 4 kilometers and Rohan could be in that distance. Although at the horizon, this distance would have been negligible, but still, he had to be careful. He scrutinized the views towards the right of him, then towards the left of him, again was looking at the right side, when by doing so, he turned his gaze towards the far right side and to his surprise, could see a faint cloud of smoke. Excitedly, he removed the binoculars and looked in that direction. The view jumped very far away and the line of smoke disappeared. He again looked through the binoculars and could see the faint line of smoke, which was gradually fading from view as the plane moved on. Ming! Mr. Ming! Stop the plane! Turn the plane! I think I had seen something, he shouted. Relax, Mr. Shekhar. I don't see anything. Not with the naked eye. Mr. Ming, use this. Shekhar handed the binoculars to Ming, who watched for 15 to 20 seconds in the direction where Shekhar pointed. Couldn't find anything, shook his head and returned the binoculars. Shekhar was waiting impatiently for the binoculars. He quickly resumed his watch and tried to locate the line of smoke. Now he tried very hard but could not see the smoke again. Found it? No. I think that you are imagining things. How can smoke arise from the open sea? I'm sure that I saw the line line of smoke, and I'm not imagining it. Why have I not told you about such a thing earlier? No, Mr. Ming, I think we should go there and explore. There could be an island, and that place is so far that previously it was in the last range of the binoculars, and as the plane is moving, the plane has become out of range. What do you want me to do? Just move back and let us find the source of the smoke, if it is there. If it is my imagination only, I will be at least satisfied that I have done my best efforts. As you wish, Mr. Shekhar. Anyway, we would have covered that place in our next circle. The next circle will be tomorrow, and if we have found some ray of hope, we should go and satisfy ourselves. Ming circled back and moved towards the direction Shekhar was pointing. Shekhar was impatiently trying to locate the smoke again. They had moved about 5 minutes. Shekhar was surprised to see the clear sky. He was sure of himself that he had seen the smoke. He was losing hope when all of a sudden smoke rose from the sea, from the horizon, and this time it could be seen with the naked eye also. Even Ming could also see it. It was soon found that the smoke was rising from a small oval island, 1.2 kilometers into 0.5 kilometers. They circled over the island and found that smoke rose from a small opening in between a cluster of trees, and someone was waving his both hands frantically. Ming lowered the aircraft gradually up to 500 feet, and Shekhar tried to recognize the person. "It must be him, is it not, Rohan?" asked Ming. I don't think so. Please lower the plane if you can." Shekhar was surprised, as he was looking at a very tall, naked man with very long hair and beard. "If that man is Rohan, he must be growing his hair and beard for many years," commented Ming. "Oh, come on, Mr. Ming. Rohan is not like that. Or he is under some disguise." "Ming! Sorry, Shekhar. How could it be possible? We hoped to find Rohan here, and instead we find an unknown person from the Stone Age." Shekhar was not able to believe what he saw. "Isn't it a nudist island? Are you mad, Ming? Such type of an island this much away from the mainland is never heard of." "I was just joking. Now what do we do?" Ming asked. "I don't know who he is. Just make a note of the location of this island and we will inform the authorities about this person. Someone will come for his rescue. Had we been on a helicopter, I would have gone down and helped the man in case he is in need of it. We are coming here tomorrow. Meanwhile, we will do something," Ming reminded him. "Oh yes, we will pack a small bag for him with some food and clothes. We will also throw a walkie-talkie set and try to speak to him to listen to his story. I think after that only we should inform the authorities, otherwise our search operation will be disrupted." Ming noted the position of the island, circled the plane over the island, and raised the engine speed to gain height. Shekhar was completely broken. After the search of so many days and covering so many thousands of miles, they had come across this island, all in order to find this unknown naked man from the Stone Age. They had left the island behind and gathering height. Shekhar looked again at the receding island. Wait, Mr. Ming, wait!" Shekhar shouted again. "What now, Mr. Shekhar?" said Ming in a tired voice. "I think I have seen someone else also." "Are you sure?" "Not so sure, but earlier also I was not mistaken. Regarding the smoke, we have not yet gone away from here. Let us go and have a check in case." "Sure, if you wish so." This time this was a stroke of real luck. Yes, there was another person on that island who came behind the bearded man, and sure enough, he was none other than Rohan. Ming had taken the aircraft so low as if he was about to land on the beach, so that Shekhar could recognize Rohan properly and surely, in spite of his exhausted face, grown stubble, and shabby clothes. Rohan had lighted the fire and put some twigs in the stove, which produced a lot of smoke because they were damp. This was the time when Shekhar saw the line of smoke for the first time. Rohan was busy with his stove when he found X standing behind him, watching him angrily with his hands on his waist. Rohan stood in front of him and faced him in the same manner. "Knife!" shouted X. "My knife!" he repeated. Rohan was surprised to listen him speak. He tried to speak, "Sorry," but to his surprise, only a croaking voice came. "What happened to my voice?" he thought. He didn't know that his voice has become like that, as he had not spoken all the days he was here. "What is wrong with my voice? Perhaps I have a sore throat because of the sour oranges." "My knife!" X repeated angrily. Without a word, Rohan took out the knife from his pocket and handed it over to X. by holding the blade himself, careful not to hurt X. X almost snatched it. He was really angry and hit Rohan at the temple, a perfect blow that knocked him down. Still angry, he extinguished the unburnt twigs by throwing some stones and sand from the ground. This was the reason why Shekhar could not see the smoke again. X went to his hut and started lighting his stove. The twigs here were also damp and burnt, producing smoke similar to that of Rohan's stove. This time Shekhar saw the smoke again and returned in search of Rohan. X listened to the sound of the aircraft and came out in the open up to the beach. He was waving at the plane in curiosity. Rohan was unconscious all the time and was lying on the ground, unaware of the fact that Shekhar had reached so near for him with this aircraft. X waved at the plane and the plane had been lowered also. The sound of the plane so near brought Rohan out of his unconsciousness and he sat holding his head, and meanwhile the plane had returned back. Rohan soon realized what might have happened and came running behind X, waving frantically, when by chance Shekhar saw him and returned. Shekhar was overwhelmed with joy. "Rohan, my son, he is all right, Ming. We have found him, Ming. He is waving at me, Ming." Shekhar was crying, "Oh, Rohan! Oh, Rohan!" Ming had taken the plane up so that he could turn and come again. He looked curiously at Shekhar. Shekhar was laughing and crying at the same time. His eyes were filled with tears. What are tears of joy, perhaps? Ming was seeing with his eyes for the first time. "Thank God! Thank you, Ming! Thank you very much. You have helped me like God. We will never forget your debt, me and my family members." "It's all right, Shekhar. Calm down. Everything is fine. Now as we have found Rohan, let us move on to the next step." "Yes, Ming. What do we do now?" asked Shekhar foolishly. "I will take the plane up and the parachutes will be prepared for throwing the bags and you jump on this island." "Oh yes, I forgot. I'm sorry. But Ming, as you can see, there is a clean beach on the island. Why don't you land the plane here?" "Are you crazy, man? The beach is too small in length." Relax, Ming. Just think over it. As it is a beach, the wheels will dig into the sand and it will need far less length of the runway for the plane to stop, as wet sand will try to hold the wheels. The engineer's mind of Shekhar was working again. "No, Mr. Shekhar, I can't be sure of the hardness of the wet sand. Besides, I have never done it. I would have tried it if it had been left as the last option for me. There are chances that one side of the aircraft digs deeper in the sand. As a result, the plane may overturn and crash." Ming was excited and he continued talking in a fast manner so as to speak everything he thought as fast as he could. "Suppose I do land safely, what is the guarantee that I would be able to take the aircraft up again? With so much of load in this plane, it will not be possible to gain the proper takeoff speed, as due to weight, the wheels will dig in sand, as they might have dug while landing. No, Shekhar, I won't take this risk. I don't want to remain on this island along with you, your son, and that crazy Stone Age man." "Ming, please go for it. There will not be a problem. I will throw all the stuff here. When I have found my son, I don't need all this." "No, and please don't compel me. I'm at your service, Mr. Shekhar. I agree, but within safe limits. I can't risk my plane and the life of all of us just because of your crazy request." "Ming, haven't you seen the face of my son? How tired and exhausted he looks. He needs assistance soon. He won't be able to travel on a boat for so many days. He had already suffered a lot. Please, Mr. Ming, please," Shekhar said with folded hands, bowed in front of Ming, and made a gesture to touch his feet. Shekhar's gesture really touched Ming's heart. "What are you doing, Mr. Shekhar?" He held Shekhar's hands as he knew the Indian way of folding hands and touching feet in respect, and while begging for something. "Don't do it to me, Mr. Shekhar. Just listen to me, please." Shekhar sat erect, still sobbing and crying with his eyes closed. "Look, Mr. Shekhar, you have tried your best to find your son, and you have succeeded. We had planned to rescue him from the sea, and that would have been extremely difficult. It is very good to see that he is safe and is at an island, not in the sea. You dropped food and all your stuff here. Stay here for 1 or 2 days, and make preparations for your way back journey. Start only when you feel that he is fit for this travel. Meanwhile, I have another idea." Shekhar opened his eyes and impatiently asked, "And what's that? Please tell me." "I hope that you have enough money." "Yes, and can spend any amount within reasonable limits, as you told earlier." Yes, go on. Whatever you want to say it fast." Shekhar was very impatient. The delay in meeting his son was unbearable. "I will go back and arrange for some large and fast motor boat or a long-range helicopter. As I know the position of this place, I will bring them very fast. You will have to give me enough money for that. By the way, how much money do you have?" Shekhar took out his notebook and checked. He had about $53,000 left on him. "How much money will be required?" asked Shekhar. $60,000 to $70,000, my estimate only. In fact, I'm not sure." "But I have only $53,000 left on me." "What about the balance money?" "I can arrange it when I reach back." "Why don't you give me your debit card? You can tell me your code. If you trust me, I will withdraw the balance money." "Of course, I trust you, Ming. You have helped me to find Rohan like your own son. But there is not much money left in that account." "Then how are you going to arrange more money?" "Well, the money has to be sent by some of my relative through money transfer after 2 days. I will be given some number over the telephone which will be used as a code to get the money from some branch." "Oh, that will be tedious. You give me whatever money you have. I will use some of my money. When you will return, you can pay it back." "Mr. Ming, you are so kind. Don't mention it. Let us proceed then." Shekhar felt relieved. He handed $53,000 to Ming. He remembered the 18,000 rupees in the form of Indian currency and handed this money also to Ming, who gladly accepted it, as he knew the place from where he could change Indian rupees to dollars. "These rupees will make about $400. So you now have about $53,400. I think that this money will serve the purpose." "Don't worry, Mr. Shekhar. I will manage." Ming raised the plane to 8,000 feet and put it on autopilot in a circular path so as not to wander away much from that island, and both started the task of filling the floats with the battery-operated air pump. Shekhar took out the parachute bags and tied one bag and one inflated float to one parachute. Similarly, he tied the other bags in the same manner. The floats were necessary to prevent the bags from drowning. "Shekhar, you jump first and be ready on the beach. I will put the plane on autopilot and with your signal drop the bags one by one." Shekhar thought and agreed to it. He was very anxious to go and meet Rohan the soonest possible. The plane was kept at an altitude of 2,000 feet and a speed of 130 kilometers per hour, which was slightly less than the stall speed. Ming brought the plane from south to north over the beach and shouted, "Now!" Shekhar opened the left door with the life jacket, float and parachute tied over him, the binoculars still hanging from his neck. A fierce gush of air touched him and entered the plane. He looked below and was not pleased. He was scared of heights and could not muster enough courage to jump, although he was equipped with a parachute, a life jacket and a float. The aircraft overshot the beach. Ming called, "Do you want me to push you down?" "No, Ming. Don't you know that this is my first time?" "There is always a first time. Give me another chance. Make a circle and take the plane there again." Again the plane was at the same place. Forgetting all the enmity, Rohan and X were watching intently from the beach with their hands on their brows. Shekhar was scared again, but he knew that he had to do it by all means. The thought of Rohan, the waving form of Rohan below, encouraged him, and by taking God's name, by chanting the Gayatri mantra, he took the plunge. He gathered speed, and when the speed became unbearable for some time, he pulled the mechanism as it was instructed. The parachute opened and the fall slowed down. Shekhar overshot the beach slightly and fell into the knee-deep warm water. The whole bulk of the parachute was over him, and he lost his footings in the water. He got up, gathered the parachute and started towards the beach. On the beach, he got rid of all his attachments and threw them on the sand. Rohan was running towards him, and he also ran with open arms. Rohan came near him and touched his feet, but Shekhar pulled him up and hugged him. Rohan said in a trembling, hoarse voice, "Dad, I always felt that you will come for me." Rohan, the strong man, who had faced numerous difficulties over the last few days with commendable courage, was crying like a 5-year-old kid. "How I have spent all these days thinking always about you. You will never be able to experience the feelings." Shekhar was also crying and simultaneously hugging and kissing his son, forgetting all his sufferings and forgetting all about the aircraft and Ming. Suddenly, the sound of the approaching aircraft alerted Shekhar. He had completely forgotten about the supply bags and other bags. Seeing him busy with Rohan, Ming had been dropping the bags one by one. Colorful parachutes were opening one after the other with the bags hanging onto them. "So many bags! What is there in these bags, Dad? You will see for yourself. Come on, let us go and fetch them." Hiding behind a tree, X was watching the whole scene curiously. First the plane, then the drop of Shekhar, and now the falling parachutes with the attached bags were too much for him. Finding that Shekhar knew Rohan and that he had come on a plane with all the stuff dropped by parachutes, intimidated X, and he disappeared from the beach. He had hit Rohan, and now, as Shekhar was also with him, it was his turn to become scared. 3 bags were in the sea, while 1 bag was on the beach. Shekhar and Rohan collected all the bags and placed them together on the beach. After dropping all the bags, the aircraft lifted up to the clouds and was out of sight in the northwest direction. Shekhar counted the bags. Only 4. There should be 2 more bags. Shekhar was worried. Rohan and Shekhar ran up to the corner of the beach and up to neck-deep water to look around. Shekhar asked Rohan to go farther to look for more floating parachutes or floats, lest they were carried away in the sea. No more bags were there. Rohan rose up to the top of the cliff and searched around with the help of the binoculars. After about 45 minutes, it was clear that the bags were not there. On the beach, Shekhar had hurriedly checked the contents of the available bags. Shekhar was sitting sadly on the beach when Rohan came and accompanied him. "What was in those bags?" asked Rohan. "In those bags were..." He looked hard at Rohan. "Our all equipment that could have taken us to the shore, and the equipment with the help of which we could have contacted the outside world for help." Shekhar consulted the list. Only bags number 1, 2, 3 and 4 were there. Bag number 5 and 6 were missing, which had the lifeboat, outboard motor, satellite phone, oars, pump, battery, solar charger, and 20 liters of the fuel for the boat. It was obvious that Ming had purposely taken all the equipment with which either they could have moved up to the shore, such as motorboat, outboard motor, oars, and the equipment with which they could contacted someone for the help in this world in the form of the satellite phone. Besides, he had taken all the money Shekhar had with him. He was also able to make more money out of this unused stuff which he had taken with him. It was also beyond doubt that Ming had planned this step in advance. He was helping in the packing of this stuff and had intelligently packed them in different bags. It was his suggestion that there should be a list and the bags should be numbered. This way he remembered which bags he had to take along. Shekhar was also sure that he must have tied up with the shopkeepers that he might be giving back some stuff unused and intact. "Perhaps Ming has not cheated us," said Shekhar. "Why do you think so?" "As he has taken the money to bring a motor boat or a long-range helicopter for us. He had thought that these things are useless for us, hence he had not dropped them." "That is likely," agreed Rohan. "Wait a minute." Shekhar consulted the list and checked bag number 4. He didn't find the items which were supposed to be in that bag. He checked the other bags also. "What are you searching, Dad?" Rohan was watching him. "I think that our doubts are correct. Ming had cheated us. He had taken the packet of tools also with him. He was clever and thought that if I had the tools, I will certainly make some boat or floating device and come back searching for him. He had taken the packet of flares also, so that if we see any vessel or an aircraft, we won't be able to attract their attention. Shekhar had paid a lot of money to Ming just because of trust. Wang was right. He had warned him that Ming was not to be trusted. Now he knew it after all this loss. Ming had carefully developed trust and he fell for it. He had come to save Rohan, but now he was also trapped with him. That son of a bitch! Bastard! Curse Shekhar. What we are going to do now? Asked Rohan sadly. Don't worry, Rohan. You are not alone. I am here too. We will think of some solution. Suddenly Shekhar remembered something. Rohan, who is this bearded man on this island? Are there more people here? Within 5 minutes, Rohan told him about his encounters with X. We will see to it later. Meanwhile, let us unpack and you can have something to eat. Let us see whatever is left by Ming for us and then we will discuss our tales of adventure. Far in the sky, Ming was singing loudly, whistling in between, laughing and smiling at his intelligence, rather cunningness. He had made a fortune today. Seeing Shekhar cry, he got softened up for a little time and was seriously thinking of helping him. But the money changed his mind. He had packed the stuff, and from the list also it was clear that if he takes away the boat, outboard motor, oars and the satellite phone, there was no way Shekhar would be able to see the shore again. The bag number 5 and 6 were deep inside the tail. By the time he dropped the bags numbered 1, 2, 3 and 4, his mind was clear and he ran away with the remaining articles. He had therefore suggested Shekhar to jump first and offered his help of throwing the bags after Shekhar. This was his chance to take out the tools' packet, as he was sure that being an engineer, Shekhar will certainly be able to make something that will take them to the shore. He had not left the flares too. He took out a notebook and started calculating the amount of his fortune. The shopkeepers had assured to buy back these items at 25% less than the purchase amount. Cash, $53,400. Parachutes, 2 into 2,500 minus 25%, $3,750. Lifeboat, $2,400 minus 25%, $1,800. Outboard motor, $2,000 minus 25%, $1,500. Satellite phone, $1,700 minus 25%, $1,275. Pump, $50 minus 25%, $37.5. Flares, $130 minus 25%. $97.5. Life jacket, 1 into 120 minus 25%, $90. Bags, 5 into 20 minus 25%, $75. Total, $62,025. Besides, he had already received about 5% commissions on the purchase of all the goods, which amounted to about $1,300. The earnings of flying the aircraft were meager in front of this. He had also made money while he paid the airport officials for clearances. In totality, he was lucky to have Shekhar as his customer. However, Shekhar was not lucky to have him as his pilot. He dismissed the thought of Shekhar from his mind. He smiled and prayed to God to send some more fools like Shekhar to him, and he will drop them on this island in a similar manner. He could make an extra of $63,000 because of his presence of mind, the proper use of his clever and cunning brain at the proper time. He was sure that Shekhar and Rohan will never be able to leave that island, and there was no chance that anyone will ever find them. He knew that there was no one in Shekhar's family who will come in search of them. Without satellite phone, they won't be able to contact the outside world. They will be foolish if they tried to swim the sea or cross it by means of a crude boat. If they succeeded to make one without tools, his earnings were safe. Shekhar will never come back. Everyone will think that he too had lost his life at sea. What was he going to do with all this money? He smiled and resumed his whistling and singing, while his brain was busy in making future plans with Shekhar's money he had in his possession. His money now.